Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Python programming. So successfully we completed the first chapter. So I'll just give the summary of first chapter what we have learned. So basically we started with the basic introduction of Python, where we use Python programming and how useful it is, what are its applications. Then we try to learn about the syntax, how the program will start, the basic concepts like variables, how to give the comments in the program. Okay, and most importantly, we have learned about the Python life cycle, how the program is executing. Then we covered the operators concept, what are the different types of operators we can use, and data types. And we have covered different concepts like control structures, like decision making structures, if else, nested if, and looping structures like while loop, for loop. Okay, so all these basic concepts we have covered in the first chapter. In this second chapter also uh, we concentrate on more applications of for loop than while loop. Okay, again the control structures can be explained in detail in this the second chapter. Okay, and with some more different examples. Okay, so let's start with the second chapter. In this session I'm going to cover the concepts like iterator definition. Okay, so there are two types of iterators: definite iterator and indefinite iterator. Then iterator based loop. Then we are using a function called iter. Okay, so this function can be used to iterate the objects of list, strings, okay, dictionary, then uh, tuples. All these can be iterated while with using this iter function. Okay, so we'll see detail about how can we use this iter function, and then iterating through dictionaries. Okay, so these are all the contents we are going to cover in this particular video. So without wasting the time, let's start with defining the iterator. See, generally iteration means what? Iteration means repeating same set of actions again and again. It is called as an iterator. Okay, so basically it can be also called as an repetitive statements or repetition. Some block of statements which can be executed again and again, that can be called as an iteration. The general definition of an iteration is repetitive execution of same block of code over and over. Okay, which is nothing but again and again we are executing the same set of actions. It is called as an iteration. Okay, so generally our life is in the iterator mode. That means we do the same things each and every day. We'll wake up in the morning, and then we'll dress up and we go to the college. Okay, and again come back from the college. So all these actions will be same thing. Okay, so in daily life also we do some set of actions repeatedly. Each and every day we repeat the same set of actions. So generally this is called as an iteration. Okay, so uh, like in Python, iteration can be implemented with loops. Okay, not only in Python, anywhere, any programming language, iterations can be executed with the help of loops. Okay, while loop, for loop, do while loop. Okay, so the definition of a loop is also the same as an iteration. So loop is nothing but what? We define some set of actions in the loop. So those actions which are repeatedly performed again and again. So which is called as a loop. So similarly, iteration, repetition, loop, all these are all the synonyms. Okay, so here in Python also iteration can be done by using the control structures which are called as a while loop and do while. Okay, but in especially in Python, we use two different functions for the iteration purpose, which are called as an iter and next. Okay, so these are the two main functions which are useful for performing iteration in Python. Okay, so we need to observe how these iteration function and iter method and the next method can be applied in the programming. So that is the main intent of defining this iteration here. Okay, so as you can see the definition, we have given some number of definitions for this. An iterator is an object that can be iterated upon, meaning that you can traverse through all the values. Okay, suppose you have a set of values in an array. What we do, we'll try to traverse from starting of the array to the ending of the array to get the values from the array. Okay, so to get the values from the array, in general in C programming, what we have used, we basically use for loop. Okay, for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, printf percentage d comma a of I. That is what the statement we have written in C programming to get all the values of the array. Okay, so similarly in Python also we use some different data types like list, tuples, okay, dictionary, sets. So all these different data types will contain more values, like some set of values. Okay, so it is a collection of values. So all these values can be iterated through with the help of the for loop or with the help of the for loop. Again, without using for loop, how can we iterate the object and how can we iterate the values from the data types is by using these functions, iter method and the next method. Okay, so hope you got the clear idea that what we are going to do in this iterator object. Okay, so iterator is nothing but an object which can traverse the values from the data types, especially list, tuples, okay, sets and dictionaries. We have seen what are these different data types and what are the values that we contain in these data types. Okay, so it's not the general values. It is not like an array which contains some values. Okay, an iterator object which contains some different set of values. It contains an alphabets or it contains strings. It contains some information about a product. Okay, so all these different items which exist in these data types. So especially to work with special kind of data types called as list, tuples and sets and dictionaries, we use iterator object to iterate the values from the these kind of data types. And especially we use iter method and next method to get the values from these different kinds of data types. Okay, so let's so that is the basic definition of an iterator. So next we see what are the types of iteration. So there are two types, definite iteration and indefinite iteration. So definite iteration, as the name suggests, the number of repetitions is specified explicitly in advance. That means how many times the loop is going to execute, we know in advance. Okay, so we have an idea how many times this loop has to be repeated or how many times the loop of statements has to be executed. Whereas in indefinite iteration, we don't know in advance that how many times the loop is going to repeat. Okay, but we write some condition. If the condition meets, if the condition satisfies, then until that we need to repeat the statements. Okay, so those are the two different kinds of iteration, definite iteration and indefinite iteration. So in Python especially, indefinite iteration can be performed by using a while loop. Okay, by using a while loop, indefinite iteration can be performed. How? Let's see with an example. Okay, so there is a small example we have taken here where I am asking an user for the count. That means how many times you want to say hello. Okay, so we have written a statement how many times we want to say a hello. So which I am asking for the user. then the user will enter some value. So that value will be stored in count variable. Now what I am doing is I am writing a condition by using a while loop. While I less than count, while I less than is equal to count, print hello. Okay, and I am taking a variable I, and I is equal to I plus 1. For every iteration I am incrementing the I value. Okay, so how many times hello will be printed? Until this count reaches, that means I value reaches to count. Okay, what is count contains? Count contains some value which is entered by the user. So you can see the example output here. I am getting a statement how many times you want to say hello. So I have got that statement on the output screen. Then as a user I am entered value 5. So what is my intention is I want to print hello statement 5 times. So this 5 value will be stored in count. Okay. Now I am using I value, I is equal to 1, and I am writing a condition while I less than or equal to count. Print hello. Until that condition met, that means I value will be first of all 1, then 1 less than count. What is count? 5. 1 less than 5, which is true. It will print hello statement. Next, I will be incremented. I is equal to I plus 1. Now I becomes 2. 2 less than count. Again it will print hello. Next time I become 3. 3 less than or equal to count. Again print hello. Like that the loop will be repeated. Okay, how many times? 5 times. When the I reaches 6, then this condition become false and it will come out of the loop and print the statement job is done, thank you. Okay, so this is how this program is executed. So what we need to understand from this program is we know indifferent. This is called as an indifferent iteration. Why? Because while writing the program, I don't know how many times this loop is going to be repeated. Okay. Why? Because I am asking the user to enter some value. So based on the value which the user has entered, that many times I have to print the statement hello. If the user has given 7 here, then I need to print hello 7 times. If the user has given 3 here, I need to print the statement hello 3 times. Okay, so this is called as an indefinite iteration because I don't know in advance that how many times the loop is going to be repeated and how many times the hello is to be printed on the screen. Okay, so this is called as an indefinite iteration. Okay, so you can execute this statement, execute this program, and you can observe the output also. Okay, all the programs whatever I have given on the PPT, like examples, I have executed this statement by using this Spyder IDE. Okay, I told you that Spyder is an IDE where we can type and execute our statements. Okay, so you can see here. I'll minimize the screen for you. Okay, so this is the IDE where we can type our commands and execute our commands. So I suggest all of you to download this Python Spyder software. Already I have given the steps how to download this software and execute this with by writing the commands. Okay, because until unless you practice these syntaxes, you don't understand how the program is going to work and how the output is going to happen. Okay, so on your screen you can able to see a Spyder IDE. There if you want to write a new program, you can click here, go to file menu and click on new file. Okay, so then you will get something like this. You delete all the contents whatever there in that screen, then you just copy paste the program, whatever the program I have given. Okay, for the time being I am copy pasting, so I request you to all to type the type each and every command. Okay, so this is the program I have copied here, and you can see observe here it is untitled1.py. all the programs are stored with .py extension. Okay, so you can save this file before executing this statement. So you can again go to file menu and save option is there. So it will ask you to enter the enter the file name in which you need to store. I'm giving some demo2.py. Okay, and in save as type Python files and click on save. Okay, so the program is saved under the name demo2.py. So when you want to execute this program, in the taskbar in the bottom in the top corner, you can have a taskbar where we have number of options here. So there is a green color option. Okay, entirely pure green color option is there, which is when you move your mouse over on that, you can able to see that is a run file. So when you click on that, you can observe in the Python console. Okay, on the bottom corner, you can observe a small area where we can see our output. Okay, so as you can see that it is asking how many times you want to say hello. Okay, then I am entering 3 times. Number 3 I have entered. When I click on enter, so you can see 3 times hello is printed, and I have I got the statement at the last. Job is done. Thank you. Because this statement I have already written here. Okay, so that is how we are executing the commands in the Spider. Okay, so this is the one of the option, and we have again this option also. Black color icon is there, which is called selection, run selection. That means you select a number of lines you want to execute and click on this black icon. Okay, so it will select only the it will execute only the statements which we have selected. Okay, so again it is asking for you to enter how many times you want to say hello. Again I am entering this time 9. Okay, so I have given 9 here. So when you click on enter here again, so it will print the hello statement 9 times. Okay, so this is how you can execute Python commands, especially by using a Spider IDE. Okay, so I request all of you to download and install this Spider IDE and start typing the commands. Okay, so coming back to this presentation. So this is how we execute the programs, which is called as an indefinite iteration. Okay, that means what? Until and unless the user is giving some input, the program will not execute. That means the user is a person who will decide how many times the loop is going to be executed. That is what we call it as an indefinite iteration. Next. Okay, next one is definite iteration. So definite iteration, or we can also call it as a collection based or iterator based loop. Okay, see generally for loop is used to iterate the numerical values in other programming languages. Suppose there is an array which contains 10 values. So to print the contents of the array, we use for loop, like I said earlier. Okay, but here in Python, we most often work on different objects such as list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. Okay, so when you want to print the contents of a list or print the contents of a tuple, the for loop is used in some different manner. Okay, it is not the same as in other programming languages. Okay, so you can see a small example here. A is equal to, I am giving a square bracket and I am defining 3 values here, foo, bar and bars. Okay, there are 3 values. First one is a string which is called as a foo. second one is other string, which is called as a bar, third one is other string, which is called as a bars. When I want to print the contents of this list, what I am doing is I am using a for loop, but the for loop in some different manner, like how it is. For, I am writing a keyword for, then I am using a variable I in A. Okay, I am using an in operator. In is called as a membership operator, which we have discussed in earlier in membership operators concept. So for I in A is what? A is nothing but list. How can we say A is a list? Because we have defined A is equal to some list of elements. Square brackets can be used for list of elements. You need to remember these things. Square brackets is used for list of elements. Normal parentheses can be used for tuples. And similarly, curly brackets can be used for sets. So these are the things you need to remember. Okay. So until unless you are working on Python, you have to very clear that what symbol it is used for which data type. Okay. So for I in A, that means I is a normal variable. I have taken any variable. I can take X also here. I can take Y also here. Z. Okay. I, J, whatever the variable I can take. So I in A, that means for every value which is there in the list, I am assigning an I variable and I am printing that I variable. So print of I. When I written the print of I, the first statement, the first answer you will get as foo. That means what is the first index of list? This is the first index. That means 0 index. At 0 index, we have stored FOO. That will be printed. And again in the 1 index, bar. Okay, that is printed. And in the next index, there is a bars. Okay, next index means 2, second index, there is a bars. So all these values are printed. So you need to observe here one thing is, likewise in C programming or C++, there is no increment operator used in for loop. Okay, and there is no conditional operator which are used in for loop. Okay, that is the thing you need to observe here. For loop in Python can be executed in this way, in this manner. Okay, there is no conditional operator, there is no increment or decrement operator. By default, it will take all that things. So what happens is, we are traversing from first value to the last value. What is the first value? Foo. Second value bar. Third value bar. If at all we have other items, then it will traverse from first value to the last value. Okay. So that is the statement you need to write. For I in A, print I. Okay. So these are called as, this is a list generally, I have taken list. So these are called as collection based. Okay. List, tuples, and sets and dictionaries, these are called as collections in Python. Collection in the sense, it contains some different values. Okay, it contains strings, it contains numbers, alphabets, so any different kind of values. Generally we call it as a data, it contains data. Okay, so till now we haven't gone through the basic concept like iterator concept, we haven't gone through that. Only we are saying that if at all we have list or tuples or sets or dictionaries, how can a for loop can be used on those different data types? Okay, so we got an idea how the for loop can be used on different these different kind of these different kind of data types. Okay, so next we go in some detail. Okay, now by using iter method, how can I use this? So I told you that iter is a method which can be applied on the different data types. Okay, like see here. First of all, I am using a iter method iter of foo bar, foo bar. Okay, so this is what generally it entirely one string. This total thing is called as a string. So I am iterating string here. So when I'm iterating a string, I'll get the output as F is the first letter I'll print, second O, next O, then B, then A and R. So these are all the letters I'm getting as an output. Okay. So for the same iter method, I am passing the list. So this time what happens, I'll get first FO of foo, next bar, next bars. Okay. So similarly, a tuple can be passed to iter method, and a set can be passed to iter method, and a dictionary can be passed to iter method. Okay. So this is the general syntax, how these different data types can be applied on the iter method. So let's see with a basic example how the normal example which can be easily understandable. So you can see here A is equal to F over BAR bar. Okay, there is A is a list which contains 3 values, foo, bar and bars. What I am doing is, by using an iter method iter of A, I am assigning this to a variable called iter. Okay, or otherwise you can take simply as an x, simply x. So what I am doing is, I am assigning this I am using this list and converting that into an iterator object. Okay, so how can I convert this list into an iterator object? By passing this list to a iter method. So I am giving a list object to the method called iter. Okay, now each and every value is stored in x. Instead of using for loop, so try to get my point. Instead of using for loop here, see, the same thing we have worked here like this. We have used for loop here to get the values from the list. But what I am doing in this screen is, I am using an iter method to get the contents from the list. Okay, so what I am doing is, this is a list. A is equal to some list of values I have given. So this list is passed to a iter method. So this list is passed to a iter method. Then each and every value will be stored in x. Okay. Now what I need to do is, I need to print the values. So to print the values, I need to use next method. There is a method called next. So this can be used. So like in the first slide I have told you, iter and the next methods are used to traverse the values of an iterator. Okay, so how we can perform this is, once again I am telling you that I am taking a list A is equal to, and I am defining some values in the list. And what I am doing is, I am passing this list to the method called iter method. So what will this iter method will do? Iter method will convert the list of elements into some objects. Okay, and each and every element will be stored in x. Okay, now if you want to print the contents on the screen, you need to write the statement next of x. So next is the method which can be used to print the values of the x. What is x? X is a iterated objects. Okay, so why we can say iterated objects? Because generally x contains list. Okay, but list, I am converting that list into some iterated objects. Okay, so iter is the method which can be used to convert the list into objects. Then that will be stored in x. Now I am printing the contents one by one by using a method called next. So when you try to execute the same thing in so you can observe here, I'll execute the statement. Okay, so I am copying the same thing in the program. So this is the thing I have copied, and I am typing here next of x, next of x. Again, second time I am passing the same thing, next of x. Again I am doing the same thing, next of x, because we have three elements in that, right? So I am printing three times here. So when you try to execute this set of actions, okay, so now first of all we'll try to see this. Okay, so the first value I have printed is F4O, because that is the value which is there in the first index. So when I repeat the same thing, let's see. Okay, so when I repeated the same function again, next of x, what happens is I am getting an answer bar. Okay, again I am executing the same function again by passing the parameter x. So when you execute this statement, you will get bars. Okay, so the same operation we have already seen with for loop, but here I am trying to use iter method and next method to traverse the values of the list. That is what the point you need to observe here. Okay, so by using a for without using a for loop, we can use iter method and next method to get the contents of the list. Okay, similarly we can use tuples. Similarly we can use I have shown you in this slide. So similarly I can use tuples. Similarly I can use set. Similarly I can use dictionary. Okay, so in the next slide we'll see this dictionaries also, how these dictionaries can be worked with this iter method. Hope you understood this. Okay, so in the same slide on the right hand side, I am taking another example. What I am doing is I am taking a list which contains the values foo, bar and bars. Okay, and I am assigning this iteration of a to the variable iter1, and again the same iteration of object a, sorry, iteration of list a to the variable itr2. Okay, two things I have used, but both will work in the same way. Okay, there is nothing new with this. See, the same thing I am trying to do here is I am writing some y is equal to iter of a. Okay, so in x also contains the same thing, y also contains the same thing. So I have executed the statements next x. Okay, now what I am doing is I am trying to execute next of y. So let's see what it will give the result as. Okay, see here. So I am assigning the same thing to y also. So I am executing this. So this part I am executing. Okay, next I am executing this statement, next of y. Okay, so as you can see this, you are getting the same answer which you have got with the x. Okay, next of x will give the same answer as next of y, because in both x and y I am storing the converted version of list a. Okay, in which mode it has converted into some objects. Okay, so when you try to execute again the same thing, next of y, second time I am executing the next of y, you will get the answer as the next content of the list, that is bar. Okay, you again try to execute the same thing with the y, you will get the last option, bars. Okay, so you observe that what I am doing, I am trying to execute only single statement at a time. So I am selecting this and clicking on this black option. Okay, which is called as a run selection. So you will get the bars as an output. Okay, so outputs can be observed in this console, all the outputs, right now. So this is how we can execute the statements. Next, see here I am converting list into iterator and I am assigning that into ITR object, ITR variable. And if you want to again convert that ITR into list, so you have to simply use list of ITR. Okay, so again this also we'll try to execute in this console. Okay, see here. So what I'm doing is I'm again converting X into list. Okay, so for that again I need to execute this X is equal to ITR of A, that statement, then again list of X, that statement. Okay, so again the output will be again converted into a list, so foo, bar and bars. So this is how you can get the output. Okay, now we'll go with iterating through dictionary. So this is the last concept with this video. So dictionaries, how the dictionaries can be applied with iterating iterator object or iterator function. Because dictionary contains two things. One is the key, second one is the value. So as you can see in the example in this box, so D is something called dictionary is equal to flower brackets. Okay, curly brackets we have to use for defining the dictionary. So here all the values are in this fashion. Okay, it is not a single value. It contains two values. One is the key and second one is the value. So foo is the value. So foo is the key. One is the value. Bar is the key. Two is the value. Bars is the key. Three is the value. So two things exist. One is a string. Second one is a numeric value. So this entire unit is a one single value we treat it as. Okay. So what happens by using a for loop and I want to print the contents of the dictionary is, for k in D, I can simply write for k in D. K is a variable. Okay, print k. What it will print is, it will print only the first key values. Okay, it will print only the key values. That means foo, bar and bars. What about the value 1, value 2 and value 3? Those are not going to print it. Okay, so in this right hand side box you can able to see that. So to print the contents of 1, 2 and 3, what I want to do with using a for loop is, I need to write a statement like this: print of D of k. Okay, dictionary of k. I need to write something like this. So then only 1, 2, 3 will be printed. Okay, so you're getting the answer as 1, 2, 3. And here I am getting the answer as foo, bar and bars. But this is not the easiest way, or this is not the way to print the contents of the dictionary, because both foo and 1 both can be as a single unit. I want to print it as a single unit. Similarly, bar 2, both the values as a single unit, and again bars 3, both the values can be printed as a single unit. Okay, so especially in dictionaries, by using a for loop, we can print the key values. We can print the key values and values in the different way or in a different statements. Okay, I can get all the keys, I can get all the values, but it is not what we want. Okay, we want both the key and value pairs will be displayed or have to be displayed as a single unit. Okay, I need to get foo colon bar as a single unit. Similarly, bar 2 as a single unit, bars 3 as a single unit. Okay, so to iterate these kind of dictionary values in Python, we have a method called items. Okay, there is a method called items. So when you perform d dot items, suppose this is a dictionary D is equal to foo 1, bar 2, bars 3. Okay, so it has some data, and I want to print d dot items. So when I print d dot items, I'll get the answer as the collective things like the key and value pairs. I'll get the result as key and value pairs, both as a single unit. Okay, which is not possible with the for loop. By using for loop, we cannot do this. So that's why we have gone to a method called items. Okay. So you can see what you don't understand what is this foo, bar and bars. You can replace that with some nominal which are values which are understood by you. Okay. So you can write here student 1 roll number 1, student 2 roll number 2, student 3 roll number 3. Okay. So student 1 and roll number 1 both are combined as a single unit. Okay. So I'll execute the same thing in program. So let's see how it works. So I am writing some foo. I am replacing this foo with student 1 and his roll number is 101. Okay. So this is how we are going to store the data in database, right? So like for your understanding purpose, I am making it as a student 1, student 2 like this. 102. Okay, his roll number is 102. Similarly, I'll remove this bars and writing it as student 3. Okay, and I am making it as 103. Right? So this is called as a dictionary. Okay, so I'll execute this statement. So the statement is executed. Next time, what I need to write is d dot items. Okay, simply I'll call it as d dot items. So when you write this statement and try to execute this statement, you can see here, you can get all the values. Student 1, 101, student 2, 102, student 3, 103. Okay, so you'll get the output in the same fashion how it has been declared. Okay, but with the for loop, as you can see in the top corner, example, in the for loop, by using for loop, we only print the keys. Again, if you want to print the values, there is something you need to write print d of k. Okay, but I want the combination of both key and values. So to do that, there is a method called items. That items method has to be called. So this is how we execute the dictionaries by using an iterating object. Okay, so that's it for the class.